on the island of Maui, people are assessing the damage after deadly, devastating fires ripped through the island, but help is on the way. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Andrea Flores.
I'm Lisa Gonzalez, and you can see the devastation. That help, it can't come soon enough for people in Maui. They're now left wondering what's next. The historic town of Lahaina is leveled, as you can see in this video. Lots of ash and lots of devastation. Homes, restaurants, shops, historic places, they're now nothing but burned out shells of buildings and rubble. Neighborhoods and landmarks burned beyond recognition.
Woke up this morning and got on our phones to pictures of our house just down to the slab. Nothing but smoke, cinders.
We know at least 36 people have died. More are missing. No one knows exactly how many. Officials fear that those numbers could go up as they get into places that they haven't been able to reach yet.
Just days ago, this is what Lahaina looked like. It was just a beautiful landscape, a vibrant color, and that dates back to the 1700s. Tourists shopping and eating, boats out in the water, and a picture of island paradise.
And now that's gone. The town has been transformed and devastated. It looks nothing like it used to. Lots of smoldering heaps of rubble and ash, block after block, as you see here. Foundation after foundation, that's all that's left. Some boats scorched, still sitting in the water, smoke hovering overhead. Mike Valerio gives us a closer look at the scope of this damage and the calls for help from people who no longer have homes.
It's completely devastating. We're shook to our core.
Lahaina looks like a bomb went off. There is nothing left.
The toll to life and property in Maui nearly impossible to comprehend. Laren Gartner lost her popular restaurant, a nearby brewery, and her condo. But that's not her biggest concern right now.
We don't know where our employees are, and we haven't been able to find them.
With the death toll rising, officials worry the devastation will intensify as flames consume more of the island by the hour. Yet forecasters say fire crews could soon catch a break, with high winds from passing Hurricane Dora easing Thursday.
I've directed my team to operate and search as though there are potentially people, survivors, that are in the water.
The Coast Guard has already rescued several people forced into the sea by the fires. Thousands more have fled by air.
We really appreciate what the airlines have done, bringing in larger planes to ensure we get more seats to get more people off the island.
For those still there, the cry for more federal help grows louder.
I feel like we're not getting the help we need, you know? Oh my God.
We're working as quickly as possible to fight these fires and evacuate residents and tourists. Our prayers with the people of Hawaii, but not just our prayers. Every asset we have will be available to them.
Until then,
We're only focusing on survival.
in Honolulu, I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
The president's commitment of more federal disaster resources comes after a call with Hawaii's governor, who cut short a vacation to return to the island as quickly as possible. Now, this fire is the second deadliest in the past 100 years in the U.S. The 2018 Camp Fire in Butte County, which destroyed the town of Paradise, is the deadliest still. It killed 85 people. The death toll from the fire in Maui is at 36, as we mentioned, as of right now, but that can change. Again, officials are worried that number is going to go up. The third deadliest fire was in 1933. That was the Griffith Park fire in Los Angeles. 29 people died, followed by the 1991 tunnel fire in the Oakland Hills. Remember that one? 25 people were killed in that. One Northern California family reunited with their loved one who arrived this morning from Maui after he escaped the flames in Lahaina.
Just such a relief. KCRA 3's Maricela de la Cruz is live at Sacramento International Airport right now. So you spoke with him. Maricela, what did he have to say?
Andrea, yeah, well, tonight there are still 3 more flights that will be arriving from Hawaii to Sacramento. And as you mentioned, we spoke to Dustin Johnson this morning here at the Sacramento International Airport, where he was meeting his mother and his sister, who were very anxious to speak to him after not being able to speak with him for hours. Now, as you mentioned, he was staying at Lahaina for a week before the fires broke out. His family was obviously very concerned. But for Johnson, he says it was also a moment to spring into action and to help out others on the island who were trying to get away from the flames. Now, what makes his arrival to Sacramento today extra special is his mother's birthday.
It's gonna sound silly, but I promised my mom I'd be home for her birthday.
Which is today.
Just today. So I had that plan in the back of my head. The world was going sideways. I wasn't sure which way to go.
So we finally got the call with like 3% left on his phone, and we were screaming, you know. Words just can't, they just can't describe how we felt.
Now the family is celebrating Carol's birthday on a boat, which she says is one of the best birthday gifts, having her 2 children here with her. Now the 3 flights that will be arriving tonight, 2 are from Southwest, and then the other one is from Hawaiian Airlines. We are live at the Sacramento International Airport. Marisela de la Cruz, KCRA 3 News.
So great to see them back together again. Marisela, thank you. The Ohana Dance Group in Sacramento is working on a benefit concert to support the greater Maui community as they deal with those devastating fires. We'll have more information coming up tonight at 5.
We've been talking about a lot. Lahaina Chief Meteorologist Mark Finan continues to track the weather conditions and also give us a closer look at the area, Mark, what we're seeing from the sky.
Yeah, you know, we've seen a lot of video here and you've seen the amount of destruction, but I want to give you a better idea of what exactly it is we're looking at when we do see that video. So what I've got here is a map just kind of zoomed in here on the west coast of Maui with Lahaina right in here. You only have to go a little bit farther to the east before you go up this hillside with the vegetation, and this is the area where the fire started. We got those downslope winds that were rather gusty, and yeah, that just started the fire in here, and then it spread into the town. So let me give you a closer look at where some of the destruction has been. So here is the beachfront, and you can see a very highly densely populated residential area in here, and then you get down to the highway, and the other side of the highway, this is where we're seeing some of the worst of the devastation. Let me zoom in a little bit more on that. You might have heard some people refer to Front Street. That's the street that runs right here, right along the water, and all of these buildings in here, they're restaurants, they're shops, that sort of thing, and all of these, most of these have been wiped out, and the same thing with all of that area inland. Most of these are now just shells. The other thing you'll note is with the seawall right here, you've heard about people having to jump into the ocean to escape the flames. The flames are coming this way, and well, there's no beach there. So if all of this is on fire and you're in here, that was your only route of escape. Going just a little bit farther to the south, there's the marina. You've probably seen that in some of the video. Here too, all of these areas have seen quite a bit of destruction. So when you see just how much destruction there is, this gives you a better visual about just what has burned and what's left of Lahaina. And I'll tell you, it's not very much. If you've been to Maui, you've probably visited Lahaina, and it's going to be a long time before it returns. Back to you.
Well, Mark, next to elementary school, there's the prison. I wonder what happened with both of those locations. Governor Newsom says he's sending people to Hawaii to support the response to the wildfire, the one that burned through Maui. 11 members of the state's Urban Search and Rescue Task Force will help with the recovery and search for survivors that's going on right now. Some of those crew members from Sacramento County, the others are from Alameda and Riverside counties. Staff with the Office of Emergency Services is also heading to the state to specialize in urban search and rescue and mass fatality management. Help also is headed there from Sacramento this morning. Michael Miglery left Sacramento International Airport. He's a Red Cross volunteer. He was packed and ready to go. He will manage one of the many shelters that they are setting up for fire victims. He says he's been a part of the recovery process after some of the California wildfires and hopes to help those who have lost everything.
You just have to listen, be a good listener, and just offer them whatever kind of hopes that they can come up with, and that life goes on.
He says that he plans to stay in Hawaii as long as the job requires. Thousands of people are seeking refuge from the fires in Red Cross shelters. Volunteers are providing evacuees with a safe place to stay, food to eat, and emotional support. We're teaming up with the Red Cross to collect donations for those efforts, and you can help by scanning the QR code that you see on your screen. Once you get to that link, you can designate the Hawaii wildfires specifically if you want your donation to go there.